Welcome to a special joint session of the Anibros. We are calling an emergency summit of the Big Three for an unknown reason. We are patiently all waiting for some sort of announcement, and while we're waiting for Viceroy Meissen to issue his statement, I'd like to remind the listeners that you can check out more exciting coverage at www.anibrospodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Anibros. You can like us on Facebook, and subscribe to the show on iTunes or directly to our RSS feed. Oh, and everyone is starting to stand up now. I think Viceroy Meissen is coming out. Let's tune in and see what he has to say.
Why, hello, my fellow anime subjects. This is your Viceroy, Patrick, as the announcer just told you, and I have just recently slogged through several god-awful animes, and I figure I'm gonna just recant them blow by blow and let you know which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Mr. Bison!
Yeah, you with the funny hat and small penis. What, good sir, what do you need?
Did you, by chance, watch all the episodes this time?
Assuming there was only one episode in the anime, yes, I watched all the episodes.
Mr. Viceroy.
Yes, you with the squirrely looking eyes. Dead squirrely eyes. What's your question?
What's the first anime you watched?
The first anime I watched was a little gem called Laughing Under the Clouds. I did not see any laughter or clouds, but I assume that comes up in the second episode. It's the story of three boys who live in, I don't know, like after samurai times, but before World War One. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Meiji Restoration era.
The Meiji Restoration, as I was about to say. Anywho, they like get prisoners who have escaped and take them to Prison Island, and then they go back to town. And I guess that was the intro. Then they have some weird slapstick thing in the middle where the younger brother is like, "Hey, I'm going to school," and then the older brother's like, "Oh, I'm a little worried about him." So he dresses up like a woman, takes the second oldest, puts him on his back like a baby, and he's going around, "I'm a woman, and I'm doing what I do." But everyone sees through it, and he goes to school, and he sees that the younger brother has a foxy-looking teacher, and he pops out, and so she's just a teacher. And I thought, why was that in there? That didn't have anything to do with anything. And I still don't know the plot of this show, so okay. And then for their third act, they all get some more escaped prisoners that they run off and try to find. And the second oldest brother almost gets strangled, but then the oldest brother shows up and he doesn't get strangled. I don't know what this show is about. I guess if the creators are listening to this podcast, which I have to assume they are, I believe we're pretty big in Japan, isn't that right?
Big in Japan.
I would say with your first episode, you should try to make that one good, and then people might watch the second episode, and you shouldn't have random stuff that has nothing to do with anything. Just kind of stick more to like, hey, this is the point of the show. You know, give people a reason to keep watching. That's my advice to them.
This seems like a chief complaint that you've had throughout your career of watching anime.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I'd say chief complaint, but it definitely keeps happening where I get to the end of the episode and I say, what was the point of that? You didn't seem to do a good job there with explaining things and like having a story that was worth watching, but I don't know, someone must have enjoyed it. As I said, I try to pick these kind of at random, but, make sure they're kind of nice.
Was that kind of like an action show, or?
No, nothing happened in it. I can't describe to you how nothing happened. It was just there. Okay, it's just there. Maybe something eventually happens, but in the first episode, they were just kind of there, existing. Next episode. Anime. Pure Para.
Hold on, you gotta try that again.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's use letters this time.
All right. Pre-Para. How about that?
Prepara?
No. Like
preparation age?
Actually, it might be prepara. Shoot.
Personhood?
Pre-para.
I'll just spell it. P-R-I-P-A.
Dance Time Revolution?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Pre-para.
Pre-para?
Pre...
As opposed to post-para? All right, anywho, it's starts off, people are singing and dancing, and there are just a lot of young elementary school girls waking up to find that someone has snuck into their house and put a gleaming ticket with their face on it, like under their pillow, and instead of screaming, they say, "Oh, goodness, yes, now I can go off to that mysterious tower over there, and I can enter it alone." And I was like, okay, that's one way of looking at things. Glass half full kind of people, I guess. Anywho, they're all going off to school, but the principal, she doesn't want them going off to that kind of strange tower. And so she steals all their tickets and is like, you study hard. That's what you're here for. You study good. But they all want to, sing and dance and become idols. You know what I'm saying? Just having a good time.
It's understandable.
I mean, I don't know, but I can imagine.
Well, anywho, main character girl, she didn't get a ticket, so it didn't get stolen. And she goes back to her family. They're in a pizzeria. Mamma mia, it's so good, a spicy meatball. I believe that was what was said at one point.
All right, a direct quote. I get it.
I'm kind of wondering if they're in Italy because they're like, hey, we need you to get us some tomatoes. And they give her a bag with a little tomato symbol on it. And she's like, but Ma, I just went to the market. And she's like, go get me the potatoes. I'm sorry, tomatoes.
Okay.
And so she goes to the market and she finds a bag and it has like a magical ticket in it. And she's like, whose magical ticket is this, huh? And so she goes to tower. And she's like, hey, someone dropped this bag. And they're like, oh, do you want in? And she's like, no, I'd love to, but, I don't have a ticket. And then she, drops the bag, and one ticket flies out and falls on her head. And it's actually her ticket with her picture on it.
Wait.
And I was like, oh.
Santa
okay.
forgot.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, why don't you get changed? And so she goes up to some machine, and it's just... Suddenly, she's in the sparkliest outfit you've ever seen. And they're like, all right, go on in. And she just goes in, and there's some place, and there's this flying teddy bear that can talk. And it's like a manager, and he's like, hey, here's the girl whose ticket you found in the bag. And she's like, yeah, I need to do a duet. What do you say? And the girl's like, well, I've never practiced or sung or danced. And she's like, have you watched the TV with the singing and dancing? And she's like, yeah. She's like, you'll be good to go. And so they just roll out there. And I gotta say, for only have just met, they did a phenomenal job of singing the same songs and doing the exact same dance routine. Although I do admit they went to this weird kind of computer generated look. And I'll be straight up with you. I had no idea what happened over the next 5 or 10 minutes, them just singing and dancing and thousands of people in the audience. And they were looking at her like, she has the voice. She has the legendary voice of a singer who knows what she wants. And then they go and she's like, oh no, I forgot my tomatoes. I gotta go. And the other goes like, I purposely left that bag out on the sidewalk because I figured whoever pick it up and would bring it back to me would want to sing a duet. And then I thought,
what?
Well, how did you leave the ticket of the person who would find it in the bag? How did you know someone wouldn't just steal the bag? And why did you sign up for a duet only to have someone show up at the last second? What if she'd shown up a minute late? This plan doesn't make sense, but it was there.
It makes sense. It's just a poorly constructed plan.
And wasn't the ticket the one with the main girl's face on it?
Yeah. So if anyone else had found it, they'd be like, oh, you can't get in.
It's ruined. Go put it back.
This pre-para thing, how do they make any money? You just let young girls come into this secret place and somehow there's just money how do they build this thing?
They must sell anime Blu-rays.
Patrick, you're gonna have to wait until you wake up with a picture of your face on your golden ticket, and then you'll know.
I mean, what is this, some weird ripoff of Willy Wonka, except you don't have to buy any chocolate, it just shows up? I don't know.
I looked it up, and it looks like Pre-Para stands for Prism Paradise.
Oh,
What does that mean?
does it turn into a horror?
I don't know. It sounds a lot like that one show we watched, Aikatsu.
Where they want to become idols?
Yeah, they had to win the contest to become the idol and turn 3D. CG.
What a dumb contest.
Enough of that god-awful mess.
Yeah, that does sound pretty god awful.
What'd you think of it, Jacko? You gonna watch it?
You know, I might if they're really reaching out to the Italian audience. I think that's good.
It's a meatball.
Yeah, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were really reaching. I would say we're
We're making
said-
fun of them.
hey, tomatoes.
Maybe one of the storyboarders or the director for the first episode might have some Italian heritage that they were trying to
Yeah.
flesh out.
He saw Italy on a map once, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now on to the next god-awful mess. Oh, golly, it was just getting worse from here on out. It's called Girlfriend Beta. I guess they got past alpha, and so now they're just in some beta stuff. It kind of concerns me when I see that. I'm like, shoot, is this the second season? You trying to F me? But I don't think so. I think it's the first season.
They would do that, wouldn't they?
So there's a girl with some brown hair and sizable bust size, I guess you could say.
All right.
And she I don't know, runs off to school, and it's showing all these various female characters, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're gonna meet them at some point. But one of my favorite things is she goes up to the gymnasium and she pulls on the door, and on it says, "Those who do not play shall not eat." And it reminded me of Mao Zedong's "Those who do not work do not eat." And he then starved 55 million Chinese to death. And I was like, oh, okay, then I guess that's something you could write on the gymnasium.
Patrick, we all know how much respect the Japanese have for the Chinese. Historically, so.
All right, so she goes in, and she is in some very tight clothes because she needs to go. She's in rhythmic gymnastics, which I guess you have these two like kind of weights with stick type things, and you dance about on the mat, and you kind of throw them up and you catch them.
Like stickball?
No,
Oh,
not like that at all. More like rhythmic gymnastics.
okay.
Anywho, I never thought she was that good. I mean, I only saw her for 5 seconds, but she like dropped her stick things as soon as someone came up and tried to take pictures. Another girl, mind you, taking pictures, and she's like, I don't really, I get scared when people look at me. And I'm like, you might have to have people look at you in a competition, but okay. And so the girl with the picture taken is like, hey, come on, let me take some pictures of you, come on. And then this French girl comes up and is like, hey, you shouldn't be harassing her, mademoiselle. And then I'm like, oh, clearly she's French because she sporadically throws in a French word. Granted, it's in a Japanese accent, but, French. Then she's like, all right, bye. But she leaves behind a picture of her and her, mom or something. And so the girl's like, oh, I better take the picture back to her. And so she goes to class and she meets some girls and she says, I got to take this picture to her. But then the bell rings. And so then she's in class. The bell rings again. So she has 5 minutes to run and find French girl, but she runs into someone else. And bell rings, she's got to go back. Bell rings, she goes running out for a French girl, but she meets someone else. Bell rings, this happens 10 times. And she's just meeting one girl after another. And it's kind of weird because I can see there are clearly boys at this school, but they're just all in the background. They never move, they never talk. She just only meets girls. And just the entire episode, she's just trying to meet this girl. One thing I did find was odd, she doesn't seem to know anyone in the school, and it's her second year there. And everyone is like, oh my, we all know you. You're a rising star, you know? You're an up-and-comer in the rhythmic gymnastics. And I'm like, no one cares about rhythmic gymnastics. No one. So yeah, we get to see juggling club, flower arrangement club, student council, the library club, the radio club, and about 50 other people. And
none of them are in clubs, mind you.
Then at the end, she meets the French girl and gets her picture back.
So the point of the show, you would say, is...
Yeah, to... I don't know, meet 50 people an episode, maybe? Like, to not do anything of interest? I guess that's a point. I don't know what the point is. I looked it up kind of, because I was thinking, okay, maybe this is, what do you call it, that, the anime where the girls like each other?
Yuri?
Yuri, that's what I was thinking it was. Some, like, Yuri thing, and the girlfriend Beta is like, oh, she's got to, like, I don't know, she'll get, like, a harem of girls, but then... I don't know, it didn't seem to be going that way. And I went online and it said it's based on a game and it's basically just trying to sell the game. So I'm wondering if it's something like you're a boy or whoever you are and you are going around dating these girls and they wouldn't want to stick some male character in there because then you'd be like, who the heck is this guy going out with my girlfriend? But they want you to like meet the girls, so they just have them chatter to each other pointlessly. I have no idea what the point of the show is. I truly don't. It was so boring and nothing interesting happened the entire time.
I tried watching this show.
Yeah?
Because I heard somebody was making fun of it because they said all they do in the whole show is just introduce themselves to each other and just greet each other. And the first 5 or 10 minutes is just them saying good morning to each other.
Well, I'm guessing it happened is there's probably like 100 girls you can date in the game. And so they're like, okay, we just gotta run through them. All right. Just every single character. She's got to meet every one of them somehow.
Well, surely that will end after a bit, right? They'll be done with introducing people after maybe 2 episodes.
And then what? They see every character for 10 seconds an episode, and then after like 100 episodes, you know a little bit about them? I mean, I have no idea what their game plan is.
How many characters did you see in the episode 1?
At least 20.
Seriously? Like seriously 20?
Now, granted, I saw them for 10 seconds as they're like, hey, I'm yawning, so I'm the quiet girl. Hey, I'm arranging flowers, so I'm the arrangey flower girl. Hey, I'm juggling for 5 seconds. And I'm just like, who are these people? But yeah, it was pointless.
Yeah, if it's specifically made to sell that game, it's probably D grade. Don't even watch it. It gets bundled with the game on an extra DVD.
Now, I don't know how many characters most shows have, but I just looked at the list of characters on my anime list for Girlfriend Beta, and there's 65 girls.
Maybe in the game you could choose your own adventure.
I mean, I haven't counted the cast of characters in other shows. Maybe there's more than we realize. And I don't know how many of these are main characters or have prominent roles, but 65. On episode, how many episodes are out? 7? Yeah. 7 episodes.
They probably roll out a few each episode, you know.
I didn't make it through episode 1. I got to the part with the French girl losing the picture, and I had to turn it off. But then I tried watching episode 4 or something just to see, like, does this show have a
like
plot?
surely it gets better. Yeah.
I mean, does it turn into anything at all? Because some shows, if it's just dumb girls at school, like, I don't know, they'll try to be funny or they'll try to be dramatic or something. But this show just truly has nothing going on. Like episode 4, they find some kittens and they're trying to find homes for the kittens. So they ask everybody if they want the kittens.
Oh, I bet they have to meet every single character when they're going around seeing if they want some kittens with mittens.
That's exactly what happens.
Maybe one of these 65 will like kittens. Let's talk to all of them.
They go around and ask all of them, and they have like 4 kittens, and exactly 4 say they want them, and then
Do they?
they get them, and then that's the whole episode.
I imagine that they're just like, do you want these kittens? No. Okay. And then they just move on. Do you want these kittens? No. Okay. for 25 minutes.
Here's my advice to him. There was another show that basically was selling a video game, and it was called Pokemon. And it had an outlandish number of Pokemon. But what they did is they just had like a few Pokemon each episode. And it was like, okay, that's a reasonable number of Pokemon you've showed me. You don't bring out 50 Pokemon the very first episode, and you're just going through them, and you're like, that's one water guy, that one he likes grass, and that one over there he's kind of like a buffalo, and that one, it's just a few. Just a few each episode, okay?
Just greedy.
It just gets worse from here, guys. And the next anime, okay, one more time.
You didn't even get through all of it. But go on.
Yowamushi Pedal.
Oh, okay. Good.
Uh-huh. Oh, this is a good one, huh?
No, well, I want to hear you say about it.
There's this boy who is described 20 times as an otaku.
Yes, he is.
That's someone who likes anime, I think. Anywho, he rides his bikes around and frequently gets violently hurt on his bike, but he just gets back up. Oh yeah, he was hit by a car.
Yeah,
falls off a mountain, and then just pops back up. Like, hey, you win some, you lose some. Let's keep bicycling. I'm like, oh, okay then. I would not have gotten up so quickly.
He doesn't care. He's very happy-go-lucky. He's like, I gotta get to school, and then I gotta get to Akihabara.
You should see the size of his pupils. I mean, they are huge. Just truly a wide-eyed son of a gun. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, he gets to school. He wants to join the anime club, but the anime club has been closed because it doesn't have enough members. And then a couple girls are behind him, and he goes up. It's like, hey, future love interest and future love interest's friend, what do you say about joining the anime club? And they're like, no, I'm in tennis. And future love interest is like, actually, I am running the bicycle club. And you're like, oh, I wonder if he joins that club, maybe. Because the name of the episode, the anime. Oh, maybe not. Who knows? Anywho, so he's like, all right. And he starts biking to some store named Akiba, which sells like anime stuff.
Yeah. Exactly that.
And so he's bicycling there, and he gets hurt again because this kind of rich, crazy guy is really into bicycling. And he gets annoyed that old White Eyes is able to bicycle all happily. And apparently this Akaba is like 30 miles away, and he just rides both ways, and he buys little capsule toys. I don't know, what are they, like a quarter out of a gumball machine? I mean, I don't know. This guy, he's a little crazy, but he loves his capsule toys, I guess. Yeah, people are all like, wow, that's pretty far to bike. And he's like, yeah, but I love my animes.
Well, why does he do it, though? It saves him like $10.
Oh, yeah, it saves him like a couple quarters so he can, instead of taking a train, and then he can buy some more capsule toys.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, and at the end of the episode, he gets challenged to a race or something, and he's like, what? A bicycle? Why, I never.
He really doesn't really care about bicycles whatsoever. Remember that he's riding one. He's just like, it's just a tool to get me to the anime store.
He does like that Akaba.
Yeah. So,
Jackie boy, have you seen this?
No.
What do you think of it? Is it a roll off the tongue? Yowamushui pedal.
It sounds pretty slow. Like, what happened in the episode? They kind of introduced the fact that he rides a bike.
He basically rides a bike around, just generally, and then there's this rich kid who loves like competition biking, and he's impressed that this kid can ride up this hill like without, he's like has just a regular old like cruiser bike, and he's like, no, it takes me this much time to get up the mountain, and it's taking him way faster on this dumb bike, and I'm mad.
Yeah, it's a 20-degree angle. It's hardcore.
Yeah, so basically he's doesn't care about biking. He's like, I didn't even realize I was being a good biker. I just want to get to the store. And he's like, no, you're biking so well. I'm very mad. Like, let's race.
So he challenges them to a race, but no race happens.
No, well, that's when the episode ends.
Yeah, I think I watched more than the first episode, so I remember a race happening.
It's something of a cliffhanger. That's a little to all of the previous anime. That's how you end a first episode, with a cliffhanger stating this is the purpose of the anime.
If you had to watch all of one of the things that you've said so far, would it be Yamushi Pedal?
Oh my word, yes. Over pointless girlfriend beta, pointless laughing under the cloud, or singing and dancing girls, yes, I would watch the pedal thing.
Now, Yowamushi Pedal is 38 episodes long.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it had 2 seasons, right? Or more than that.
That's the first season is 38.
Oh. What?
It's definitely like it's a sports manga.
The second season is ongoing.
Okay, well,
It doesn't seem. I mean, it has a little bit of flair and not traditional sports manga style because it's not just like he's the best at bike. Well, crap, he is the best at biking. I don't know. Never mind. It seems fun. It seems like a fun watch.
yeah,
I'm kind of biased.
it wasn't stupid from what I could see. I mean, he was kind of a little squirrely kid, and I was
He was just like this weird, like aloof kid. He like had. I mean, he didn't have this, but he might as well have had those like swirly eyes glasses that are crazy people have in anime. And he's just like, I like anime. I'm a dumb kid. And then this other guy who's like, I am so mad at this kid. He's the dumbest kid ever, and he can ride his bike so well. And I've been training for years to ride up the hill faster.
All right, well, put that one on the rubbish bin, and we'll move along, I guess. The next one is Jinsei. Jin, as in Jinca, or Se, as in Sei. All right, Jinsei.
Good pronunciation, Patrick.
All right, starts off, there's a feller and his female cousin. Not too hard on the eyes, if you know what I'm saying. And they're alone in their club room in high school playing Jenga, but they're using like little wafer cookies. And yeah, they don't really come back to that, so I don't know what that was about.
Well, there's a war on. You gotta save resources.
They just started off. I mean, they just this is the point of the show. She's like, hey, I am the head of the school's second newspaper. I guess there was so much information at the school, they needed a second school newspaper.
It's not there was a lot of information. It was that they're getting it wrong and they're biased. So you got to speak the truth.
And she's like, hey, I want to start up a new thing where we're going to give advice. All right? I'm going to get some people. They're going to help you give advice. And he's like, do you know anything about him? She's like, I know nothing about him. And they leave. And so he's walking around, and girl number 1 shows up. She's kind of the sciencey girl. And basically, if you just Google some science-ish thing and just start cramming some of the words randomly into her mouth, I guess that is what her character is. It doesn't quite make a lot of sense, but she loves science, I guess. Girl number 2, she's Boobs McGee. She apparently represents the humanities, and she's there. And then the last one is Athlete. She's a little hyper and doesn't really get along with Science Girl. And so they sit down and they say, all right, someone wrote in saying hey, you got any advice on this? And then they all 3 give their answer, and they're all crazy different. And then what happened in the first episode? Oh, to settle it, they all said, all right, let's go out and have a water balloon fight. And I'm like, what? And they go out and they start throwing water balloons at each other, and they must not have realized it, but their shirts are white, and you could start seeing their bras come through. And
it was by complete accident, Pat. Don't read too much into it.
It was quite the accident. And so he's just sitting off to the side like, oh my, wow. And then at the very end, they just out of the blue come yeah, you should use this advice actually. Okay. And then someone else writes in a question, and they give that person advice and probably do some other shenanigans. And at the end, they say, oh, could you go review this romantic restaurant? So the boy and the science girl go to the romantic restaurant. Here's my prediction. It's going to be a harem, and he's going to wind up with the science girl. And you might say, Patrick, why do you think he's going to wind up with a science girl? Because in the intro to the show, the little, like, where they sing and dance for 10 minutes as the name flashes by minutes. Over and over, they clearly show he's going to wind up with the science girl at the end. I was like, harem, the only thing you got going for you is different camps of people falling in love with the three girls and then one of them getting picked. You can't just, from episode 1, say, oh, that's the one over there. Now, which one will he choose? Oh, I wonder. I mean, what were they thinking?
They're bad men.
Also, the science girl was kind of crazy.
Why? She likes science?
She just say with random things. She's like, algae, and then basically wiki algae, and then read off the first paragraph, and that's her lines. and you're like, okay, thanks for that, I guess.
All right, fair enough.
What are you thinking? You think gonna watch it? A little Jinsei in the morning?
Yeah, sounds like a top-notch show.
I'm watching it.
Oh, you're watching it. Well, what'd you think?
I like it. It has funny moments.
Oh, yeah, it has its moment. Did you like that water balloon fight?
In the first few episodes, they kind of do some extreme Nickelodeon challenges or whatever. They have a water balloon fight. They probably have like a squirt gun fight. They go to the beach and have another water balloon fight. And
they have a topless smacking their boobs fight.
Yeah, they have a disintegrating
fast forward through that stuff.
That's it. I challenge you to a mud wrestling tournament to determine who is correct.
I think that happens. Like, I'm pretty sure that happens.
Oh, Jinsei, don't go that low. Keep your dignity.
Well,
keep just a shred of pride. Come on, don't go that low.
What you've described so far has basically none.
You know, I remember once at community college, I just picked a spot to sit down because all the tables were full and some girl was already there. And I just quietly sat there, did my homework. She sat there, did her homework. And then her friend came over, and they were talking, and they're like, oh, what do you say we go down to the local college? It's like, yeah, the fraternity's going to be having something. And one of them's like, yeah, you know, they're going to have some, like, mud wrestling thing. I thought that'd be fun. And I was just thinking to myself, if you are thinking that mud wrestling is fun and you're sober, you might be a hoe.
That's a very astute observation.
Maybe you aren't, you know, but if all your friends are hoe, your enemies are hoe, your acquaintances are hoes, maybe you're a hoe. I'm throwing it out there.